Hello again, everyone. You're joining us for another episode of Executive Platform's Blueprint podcast series. My name is Geoff Micks. I'm head of content and research. My guest today is Jon Gunther of Just Evotec Biologics. We're going to be having a conversation about controlling costs in a world that keeps getting more expensive, especially for biopharmaceutical manufacturing executives. I think it's a really timely and important conversation. I'm looking forward to it. Jon, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no, really appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you today.
Why don't we start off sort of by framing the conversation around why this industry hasn't been great on controlling costs. I think innovation costs money. They're making things up as they go along. Things aren't, they invent what they need as they go, and that gets expensive. But we are approaching a point where they need to talk about controlling costs. How are you having those conversations with them?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think that if you look at the industry over the last several decades, like so much progress has been made on developing efficacious therapies, right? And I think that's really been where, the emphasis has been over time, right? But now I think there's just increased urgency to, one, make these therapies, more affordable for, folks in countries that have access to these therapies. But then if you look at how many places throughout the world, these really life-saving and, revolutionary therapies are unavailable, it's really quite appalling, right? And so I think what the world is coming up to, our industry is really coming up to speed with at this point, is we need to expand global access, and we need to make sure that, cost is not an obstacle to access there.
Okay, so I can appreciate, the challenge is big, but I think there's a lot of opportunity maybe to learn from some other industries that already have a lot of experience figuring out how to do the same thing for a little less money.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that we can be looking at in the life sciences?
Yeah, so I think, and I think this really aligns with Just Evotec Biologics paradigm in manufacturing. If you look at, other industries that are producing, say bulk chemicals, for example. Many years ago, they made this transition from batch manufacturing to continuous manufacturing. And you really haven't seen that, broad adoption of continuous manufacturing in the biologics space for a number of reasons. One, there is some simplicity advantage perhaps to batch manufacturing, but the ramifications of that are, very large scale systems, and it just creates, some challenges on the cost side that I don't think are addressable in a batch format. So it was really a pleasure to attend this conference. It's one of my favorite conferences every year, and I think what you saw in a number of the speakers' presentations was a call out to continuous manufacturing. Our company is focusing on developing a continuous manufacturing platform. You heard representatives from FDA say this is really an area where we're encouraging industry to go. And at Just Evotec Biologics, we've been, laser focused on reducing cost of goods for many years and leveraging technology to get us there. And continuous manufacturing is really one of our key enablers to get to that point. And so what we've been able to do with our manufacturing platform is reduce the manufacturing footprint to 500 liter, 1,000 liter scale as opposed to large, 20,000 liter stainless steel bioreactors. We've been able to reduce that operating scale because we have a highly intensified manufacturing footprint. Okay, and so what we do with that upstream step, we're utilizing perfusion, which enables us to continuously harvest product from the bioreactor, replenish the bioreactor with fresh media in order to sustain the health of the cells, and then we actually do a cell bleed to make sure that the cells are in a very healthy state while they're producing product in the bioreactor. That product that's continuously harvested, it goes into our continuous downstream purification train. And so essentially you don't have product lingering in hold vessels for any extended duration of time, which has really nice benefits for quality. And if you have, maybe products that are sensitive to, different environmental conditions, being able to advance them through the process as quickly as possible has a lot of advantages as well.
Now, I know this is a pretty tightly regulated space, and certainly there are manufacturers who they got their process figured out, they got it approved, and they can see the advantages of going into a continuous model, but they've got to change what they're doing. How do we square that circle?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good question, and it was, it brought a smile to my face to hear, FDA this week at the Biomanufacturing World Summit talk about, some of the advantages of continuous manufacturing. I think regulators recognize the opportunity there. I think what we're seeing with, in the industry and with some of our commercial partners is, an interest in leveraging the continuous manufacturing platform in order to reduce cost of goods around biosimilars, right? So, it is paramount in the production of biosimilars that you're matching critical quality attributes for these molecules. And so it just, if the innovator molecule was originally developed in a fed batch format, and you're coming along with a next generation, more cost-effective manufacturing process, you don't get a pass from regulators for just being more cost-effective. You have to match. You have to be comparable, right? And so what we've seen recently with one of our recently announced partnerships with Sandoz, they are very excited about working with Just. To develop multiple biosimilar products with them, and I think that they have a lot of respect and confidence in just being able to provide the right comparability package when we're looking to deliver these biosimilars to patients.
Now, I can appreciate every product's going to be a little different, but broadly speaking, what are the timelines like to move from a batch to a continuous model?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what we do at Just is we like to bring in that molecule and see how well it performs in our platform. So we do a very rapid platform assessment. We could typically accomplish that kind of exercise in 2-3 months, right? And then you'll have a very good idea of how productive that molecule is in our platform, and we can assist with process economic modeling to make sure that there is a key an NPV advantage to pivoting to an alternative manufacturing platform, and then we can also show comparability of the molecule, right? So we have some really sophisticated analytical techniques that we can leverage. Multi-attribute method, mass spec is one that we can use to make sure that we're matching the glycosylation of the innovator molecule there. So I think we can, in this very short period of time, give our partners a lot of confidence that they're going to see a cost advantage while not compromising comparability if they were to develop a next generation manufacturing process with us.
I can also see an advantage if you're building it one way for a long time and then there's an opportunity to move to a continuous model. You can also build in the latest technologies for visibility, for documentation, for data collection and analysis.
Yeah.
That comes part and parcel.
Yeah. No, that's also a really nice attribute of our approach, right? So we've really spent a lot of time thinking about a highly intensified, highly productive process. But one of the side effects, shall we say, of that approach is that it's allowed us to substantially simplify the facility and frankly simplify the equipment that we're utilizing, right? So our facilities, we don't have extensive piping and instrumentation in the facility to enable SIP, CIP type cleaning activities. Everything's single use, which gives us a lot of flexibility to reconfigure the facility, move different pieces of equipment around, try out different configurations in the plant. Whereas if you were working in, a more traditional facility, you just wouldn't have that kind of flexibility to move unit operations around. We also really want to be on the, the cutting edge of, e-systems that we're using in our facility. So, we're highly automated throughout the manufacturing process. We actually endeavor to have, and this is another theme I think you saw in some of the other presentations this week, was, lights out manufacturing, right? Like, can we leverage enough automation that we've, substantially reduced the amount of human interaction that's required, throughout the process. And that's something that we're, one, I think we've made a ton of progress on, but also like really excited about. But yes, leveraging, electronic, notebook systems, electronic, documentation systems to avoid paper in the plant is also something that we've spent a lot of time thinking about and implementing in our facilities.
I want to circle back and touch a little bit on the facility layout that you were talking about. I remember when I was first getting into doing pharmaceutical events, everyone wanted to talk about the facility of the future, future. And now we are coming to a point of a whole new frontier of medicines in front of us. We are getting better at controlling our costs. I have to assume the facility of the future has some modular components to it that are helping you, do the same thing a couple of different ways. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, no, happy to, and happy to give you a sense of how we're thinking about leveraging the facility as really kind of a key differentiator for our manufacturing platform. So we have our manufacturing platform. We call it JPod. And basically we're leveraging these modular pods to perform different unit operations in a clean room setting, right? So if you come visit our one of our JPod facilities, we have one in Redmond, Washington, with a U.S. based manufacturing footprint. We also have a second facility that will be coming online in early 2025 in Toulouse, France. So we'll have that North American footprint and European footprint in the very near future. If you were to come visit our GMP facility in Redmond, Washington today, which has been performing GMP runs for the last 3 years or so, I think you'll see a very modest looking suburban office park type building, right? But when you go inside, it is really different, right? So we've got a very small clean room space. And because of all of the intensified, manufacturing unit operation development that I mentioned earlier, we've been able to really squeeze that clean room envelope. So the amount of environmental monitoring that's required is substantially less than what you might see in a larger facility. And so this kind of pod concept. One, it's highly reconfigurable. We can actually move where different unit operations are performed. We have a very flexible automation system that allows us to increase or decrease the number of unit operations that might be required for a particular molecule, change the order of operations. So there's just a lot of flexibility, and really this kind of JPod piece. It's a differentiator for us. I think perfusion. We're very excited about that technology, and I think that it opens up a lot of opportunities. But if you come visit the JPod facility, it's really quite profound what our team of engineers has been able to bring together to create this holistic manufacturing solution.
For executives who are listening to this and are trying to imagine themselves partnering with your group, maybe they want to learn more about the JPods. What are some things that they should be keeping in mind? Maybe what are some good questions that they should be asking? How do they get better educated about all this?
Yeah, so I would say that as they think about their clinical pipeline and how they're going to ensure enough supply is reaching that patient demand. I think they're going to be thinking about costs, which we've addressed, right? I think we've got very competitive cost of goods that are from our market analysis really is we're in a leadership position, I think, when it comes to cost of goods. I think they're also thinking about quality, and I think we have fantastic quality systems. As I mentioned, we've done a lot to show comparability around our molecules. We really understand what we're producing there, and I think risk is also an important issue. So one of the nice attributes of our approach is for phase 1, phase 2, we can actually deliver kilogram quantities of material out of a 500 liter scale, right? And so when that partner achieves clinical success and is moving into the later stage, or even contemplating commercial launch, what we can do there, instead of what you might do in more traditional fed batch manufacturing, where you scale from 2,000 liters up to 20,000 liters and hope that all the mass transfer that might be necessary there is behaving as you would expect, we can actually scale from the 500 liter scale to the 1,000 liter. Very, very modest scale up, which reduces scale up risk. We can extend the duration of the process and produce upwards of 40 or 50 kilograms worth of material out of a single commercial batch. And so I think that there's a lot of benefits to that as well, minimizing the risk around scale up. These are, because our facilities are simple and modular, we can actually build new facilities very rapidly. So a new facility, we have experience constructing a facility in 18 months, right? And that was during the peak of the pandemic. We were actually building the first J-Pod facility in Redmond.
Actually, could I get you to expand upon that?
Yeah, so I think one of the other benefits that we bring to partners is the ability to scale with their clinical and commercial demands. So you might have a reasonably good understanding of how much material you're going to need for phase 1, even into phase 3. But we've heard time and time again from many of our partners that estimating commercial demand is very challenging, right? And so if you have to commit to a commercial forecast, and if you exceed demand, that's a challenge. If you are unfortunately under demand, that can also be problematic. So given our really flexible approach to manufacturing, we can scale up and scale down with partners as necessary, which I think is also a unique differentiator for us at this time.
Jon, we've covered a lot of ground in this conversation, and I wonder if there is one or two key takeaways that you'd like to highlight for people who've been listening, just so that they can think about that a little further.
Yeah, no, thanks for that opportunity. So, one thing I would like, groups to know about Just Evotec is we also have some interesting approaches to the business model that we partner with various groups. So, we certainly can offer contract manufacturing for different groups in a more kind of traditional approach. But we've actually very recently taken a different approach to partnership. So we're thrilled to be working with Sandoz, as I mentioned earlier on the call, and we'll be working with them hand in hand to develop multiple biosimilars over the coming years. But we actually have an interesting technology access partnership model that we've been able to come together with them on, where we'll actually allow them to leverage some of our enabling technologies, and then they have the option to request just to construct a pod facility, right? So we have our J-Pod facilities. Essentially, we would build one of those facilities with them that they could then operate. So we have some really flexible approaches to partnership, and I think that that might be compelling to different groups. Some groups are looking to be provided with clinical supply, and we love having those kinds of doing those kinds of projects with groups. But for others that might be thinking about expanding a global manufacturing network and want to leverage the J-Pod technology in different geographies, I think we can have some really interesting conversations in that area as well. So yeah, no, really, thanks for the opportunity to bring that that nuance to people's attention.
No, for sure. And so I guess the natural question then, when we're talking about these conversations, for people who do want to learn more, ask a few questions, what is the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, so what I would encourage people to do is you can find us on the internet at just-evotecbiologics.com. That's our webpage. There's actually a lot of really interesting background material that you can find there. That can help answer additional questions. We have our email contact information on the webpage. Please reach out to us there. Be happy to schedule follow-up conversations if you'd like to learn more. And we're just thrilled to work with our new partners, existing partners on projects that expand global access. Really, that was the foundational mission for Just, was finding ways to expand global access to biotherapeutics and partnering with various groups to achieve that together is really integral to our organizational DNA, and we really strive to enable that.
Jon, I really appreciate you sharing some of that with us today. I know you have a lot of interesting conversations with a lot of people. I hope this is one more way of getting your message in front of them, because I think you've got something really special here.
That's great. No, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You've been listening to another episode of Executive Platform's Blueprint podcast series. I've been Geoff Micks. Let's do it again soon.